Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Monday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Today's show, we'll have JC on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to have Pat Dooley in the second portion of the show get his thoughts on what's going on in Gator Nation, but he's also got his big charity golf tournament coming up this weekend that honors his dad. We'll talk about that, some of the auction items he has for you to bid on. But first, let's go to the Titan MR hotline. And we're joined by JC. I'm assuming the Braves won last night.
Why would you make such rash assumptions there, QB?
Because your lid has the A on it.
They put it on the Phillies 6-1. I guess the thing that I noticed that I liked really about this weekend's baseball series between Atlanta and Philadelphia was the fact that in the stadium, they had close to 30,000 fans yesterday, and that was encouraging to see. Everybody rooting for the team. But the real heroics came the day before in 12 innings when they had, it was just a night full of comebacks for the Braves and Phillies, and the Braves rallied for an 8-7 win over the Phillies in the 12th inning on that night. And again, a huge crowd of almost 40,000 fans in Atlanta at I guess it's called SunTrust Park or SunTrust, and they beat Philadelphia and provided an exciting weekend, on Saturday and Sunday for their fans who have been starving to watch baseball or at least watch the Braves play in Atlanta. So it was fun to watch. The Braves are only a 500 team right now. I mean, they did lose 12-2 on Friday night, but they really battled back on Saturday and Sunday. Had big crowds. It felt normal. It was exciting to watch, and then Sunday they just kind of capped it off with a big win and hammered the Phillies, and that was the highlight, I think, of the Major League Baseball weekend for me, at least, noticing that Atlanta was back.
Yep. Some news and notes on campus. If you're a lacrosse fan, the Gators are number 6 overall seed. The NCAA tournament starts this weekend. They host. They will be playing the Mercer Bears. Vanderbilt will be playing Jacksonville. I didn't even realize Vanderbilt and Florida are the only 2 teams in the SEC that play women's lacrosse. Also, Gator golf team, Ricky Castillo, he's part of the Walker Cup. He went 4-0 in his matches this week where they won at Seminole Golf Club. So, and then obviously baseball loses Thursday night to the Kentucky Wildcats, come back and win the series against Kentucky 2-1. But softball, softball, JC, they are once again your SEC champs. Yep. They had to come from behind both Saturday and Sunday. Yesterday think about this, JC. Arkansas, we had to sweep A&M to get a tie for the SEC title. Arkansas went from worst to first. But to win the SEC, which means, you put up on the wall out there another SEC championship, girls get a ring, and I'm sure Tim gets a bonus as well. But we hit a walk-off 2-run homer, Julia Cottrell does, and it was a bomb, no doubter. But
hit the roof, So, of course, so obviously this leads into what everybody has been anticipating, who my Gators of the weekend would be, QB. And obviously you have to start it off with Julia Cottrell. I mean, walk-off home run, 4th comeback over 6 games for the Gators. She's a player who hails from beautiful Wichita, Kansas, which is also the home of former Gator Kelsey Stewart. She came from Wichita, Kansas. So there is a pipeline of players from Wichita, Kansas to Gainesville that Tim knows about and has. But the Gators winning that gives them, I think, all of their SEC conference series that they played in, they won this year. I think there was like 8. They played 8 SEC series, and they won them all. and now they're ranked fourth. Could be higher after all this is over with. So hopefully that will be the case. It's great to see that Florida will be hosting, obviously, in the postseason, and it's after the SEC tournament, and I just can't wait for it because this is the time of year I get excited. But Julia Cottrell is one of my Gators of the week. The other is Brianna Harris. And Brianna Harris is your lacrosse superstar who, along with Shannon Cavanaugh, scored 6 goals in the AAC tournament over the weekend. And in the ACC tournament, Brianna Harris was named the MVP. So we're going to go with Brianna Harris as another Gator of the weekend. And then finally, I'm going to go with Hunter Barco, who pitched on Saturday for Florida. He threw 6 2/3 innings, I think, scoreless innings. He allowed 2 hits, struck out 10 on Saturday, and that matched his high in strikeouts over his career at Florida here. And even though Jacob Young went 4 for 5 on Saturday, Hunter Barco was the player that got Florida that needed win coming off the loss Friday night and allowed them to have a chance to win that series, which, of course, they did yesterday. So Hunter Barco is my other Gator of the weekend with just a spectacular performance as a southpaw on the hill for the Fighting Gator baseball team.
Yeah, we got a couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Metal Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John says, Arkansas fans were talking trash on Twitter because we got the 1 seed. They were saying we were scared to play them. I was like, y'all have one good season. Go sit down. Well, when we scared to play them, the SEC sets the schedule. Dan, I meant to mention this too. Dan says Cottrell hits the game-winning home run with her tooth knocked out. So, JC, you probably didn't see the game. Okay, so we had to come from behind. We were now 4-0 and going into the 5th or 6th.
I know.
It was 4-2. We make it. Yeah, it was 4-2, and then Jamie Hoover gets a little bloop single over second base up the middle. But I want to say it was Cottrell that scores from home. She makes a tremendous slide, but as she gets up to celebrate, her chin hits, I think it was Charlotte Eccles' shoulder in their celebration, and it almost looks like she gets knocked out. So she lost part of her tooth, but it was and here's the great thing. You mentioned Wichita, Kansas, and all that. Oklahoma State has a University of Florida field because Kenny, I can't say Kenny's last name, Gajeski, I can't pronounce it. Anyway, he was a longtime assistant for Tim. He's been their head coach the last couple of years.
Oklahoma State, yep.
But Julia Cottrell's dad is his hitting coach. Oh. So it was cool. I was flipping through the channels after she hits the bomb, and then on the other channel, OU and Oklahoma State were playing one another.
Okay.
And they were showing him in the dugout, but he had no idea what had just happened.
Well, Oklahoma is, I think the team to beat, obviously. They seem to be anyway this year. But look, I mean, anything can happen. You get these dramatic finishes, and your team starts thinking that regardless of how the game goes earlier, even through the middle part of the game, they're still going to win somehow. And that confidence that Florida is establishing with these comeback wins, man, I mean, that's really – now, I don't think you want to make it a habit of falling behind in these games, but confidence-wise, Florida's got to be riding pretty high knowing that they could always come back and they're never dead. So, it was a big sweep for Florida over Texas A&M, and I don't know how Alabama and Arkansas ended up over the weekend. Did you see how that ended
Arkansas didn't play.
I'm sorry.
Their season was already over.
That's right. That was a week prior. You're right. Okay. Well, it's time for the postseason now in softball, and in baseball, we're getting there too. So things looking good right now. Things are looking good. And you mentioned that golfer who played so well. I can only find a few Gators of the weekend there, QB. I'd like to list them all, but those are the 3 that I noticed.
Yeah. We got a text on the Titan More text line from Ryan. He says, just wanted to say great interview with Kerwin last Friday. It's always good to have a backup team to pull for, and you can bet I'll be rooting for Kerwin and the Catamounts.
Yeah.
That sounds like a 70s band. Don't think I'll don any purple and gold, but I'll be watching. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens up there. But yeah, it was a good interview as usual with Kerwin. John says on Facebook Live, OU has 116 home runs on the season. They're loaded. They've lost twice this year.
Yeah. I saw one of the games they lost on television to Georgia, of all people. But
they lost to Oklahoma State the other day,
and then they lost to OSU. But they will be hard to beat, man. When they don't have to travel in the postseason, literally, it's easy. It's easy. I mean, they just stay in their own beds and stay at home and play softball. So
they don't stay in their own beds, though. They do go to the hotel.
They probably go to the hotel. Yeah.
Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. May's your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Speak with JC on the Titan Number Hotline. We'll be joined by Pat Dooley. Second portion of the show, we'll talk to Pat about his golf tournament coming up this week.
And JC, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, Pat's probably really excited about what his Braves did over the weekend. With the crowds that they had, I know we just touched on that, but Freddie Freeman with a homer, Ozzie Albies had a big triple, Swanson, homer to left. Swanson, that former Vanderbilt player who has had 4 home runs already this year for the Braves. It's fun when the Braves are winning because I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of Atlanta fans. I know Pat loves his Braves, so I'm sure he's quite happy with the way that weekend went.
Yeah, I think I saw this tweet the other day, and I took a screenshot of it because I wanted to read this. I think maybe this week or next week, a lot of NFL rookie training, like mini camps, OTAs, whatever they call them these days, start up. Mm-hmm. But I saw this about John Gruden because, a lot of people think John Gruden is this great
offensive
NFL
mind.
Coach.
Yes, great offensive mind.
Just listen to this.
He did win a Super Bowl. Go ahead.
In the 3 seasons before John Gruden returned to the Raiders were 25-23 under Jack Del Rio and ended a 13-year playoff drought. Under John Gruden, they're 19-29 with no playoff trips. Over his last 9 seasons as an NFL head coach, including in Tampa, he's only had 3 winning seasons, 2 playoff trips, and 0 playoff wins.
Ooh. Wow. Well, he's made a lot of money doing that mediocrity.
He made more. Yeah, he's made a ton of money, but he's really. They're basically, it goes on and to talk about. He only took over Tony Dungy's team, and that's how he won. It's similar to what people say. Urban took over Zook's players and won a national title, but Urban continued winning. Gruden's done nothing. So I just thought it was interesting.
Well, after that Super Bowl, they did have a few good years afterwards, but lost in the playoffs. So I went to the first playoff game when they had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So they played the Washington Redskins at the time and lost. I was at that game. So I don't know really what's hurting him. Maybe his offense is just too hard for some of these guys. I don't really know. I know his playbook.
What does that mean?
Well, I've heard people complain about who've been on his teams. Offensively, the playbook is like the World Book Encyclopedia. Remember those old things?
They're like that. They're like all the NFL teams.
Well,
like that.
I don't know. Some teams are easier to understand. Some offensive schemes may be easier to understand than others.
Have you been in, JC?
Well, this is just what I've heard, QB. I'm allowed to hear these things. But, listen, they just haven't done well. And I guess offensively, the Raiders should be better. They've got some really exciting players. I have a feeling they're going to make the playoffs this year. I'm just going to go ahead and say that maybe they sneak in a wild card position this year because winning the division seems to be out of the question as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy and the Chiefs are playing. So, that's a tough division, actually. I think Denver and the Chargers are going to be better, but the Raiders might sneak in a wild card spot. I want to make that prediction right now. How's that?
All right. Well, I just thought it was a very interesting stat.
Well, yeah, he hadn't won much. Right.
Yeah, he hadn't won at all. Are you tired of living with chronic pain, JC? There are new breakthrough treatments at QC Kinetics here in North Central Florida that not only alleviate your pain, they speed up the healing process. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's our new good friends at QC Kinetics.
So your boy McIlroy, Rory McIlroy, he wins yesterday. He has won that on that course. He's won 3 times, 5 years apart each time, if you don't include last year, which they didn't play it last year. So he won it in 2010, he won it in 2015, and he won it yesterday, which I guess is 2021. But since they didn't play it last year, each 5 times they've held that tournament, Rory has won that tournament, and he shot a 72 in the first round. He wasn't He wasn't even, I think he was like 5 strokes behind early in the tournament, but he comes back on the weekend with just spectacular golf, 68 and 68, 66 on Friday, wins it by a stroke over Abraham Answer. Your guys did okay, I think. I haven't had a chance. I did see where DeChambeau, one of my picks, finished in the top 10.
Did you see what he did on Saturday? I mean, on Friday?
What did he do? No.
So he double bogeyed 18 on Friday, thought he missed the cut, and was already flying home in the air and had to turn around and come back.
I did hear that. That was classic. Well, that's kind of odd. I mean, the guy is a genius. He's I think a physics expert or something. But I think my guys outperformed your guys this weekend. I had Fleetwood and Schauffele. Your guy Schauffele was 200. My guy Fleetwood was 200. But DeChambeau, I think, finished higher at 400 than any of our other picks. Your guy Hovland, I don't know why you didn't pick him. What the hell happened to you there?
He's a cash cow.
This kid
he is in the top 5 every week.
Every weekend. I mean, this kid is going to win a major sooner than later, and he is going to win some tournaments. He has got so much game. Gosh. And he just smokes the ball off the tee. I just love the way his game, I love his game. I do. And he only finished, he finished tied for 3rd with Keith Mitchell, who hit the ball great over the weekend. Good for him, a former Georgia Bulldog. But Hovland is somebody you just got to keep your eye on, man. I mean, he for the PGA. I'm talking about for the next biggie. So yeah. they have Byron Nelson this weekend in McKinney, Texas, and then they
this is a
one
tournament
more
they'll shoot 22 under par.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Craig Ranch is a nice place. I've been there. I've seen it. It's
wide ass open. It's a resort course.
Yeah, when did you just play there? When were you there?
I played there before, but it's a resort.
At Craig Ranch in Texas, you played?
Is it not a resort?
Dude, you're thinking of Las Colinas, you goofball.
Is it a resort course where the general public can go play?
It's where it's a TPC course.
It's a TPC course is what I meant, not resort.
But you're thinking about Las Colinas.
I'm talking about that. But they're going to shoot like 19 under par.
We'll see.
That's why I love Quail Hollow. It's a challenge for them. But JC, I saw this morning, and this shocked me. We have guys from Pro Football Focus. They have tons of people that work for them. That's Chris Collinsworth's deal, where they grade every player in college and in the NFL. Uh-huh. They've already come out with their 2022 mock draft. And Mike Renner, who is in charge of their mock draft at Pro Football Focus, guess who he had as the number 6 overall pick to the Philadelphia Eagles? A Florida Gator.
Who did he have? I will say Kadarius Toney.
He's already been drafted.
Well, I know you said before the draft.
I said the 2022 mock draft.
22 mock draft. Who does he have? Shorter?
Emory Jones.
Well,
Justin Shorter's not a first-round draft pick.
Well, neither is Emory Jones.
I don't think so either, but I was surprised. But that's what these guys break down more crap than you can imagine.
Let's just imagine that to be true. Let's just say and pretend that that's true. What do you think that puts Florida at in the SEC championship game?
It doesn't mean that just because he's a first-round pick or could become a first-round pick doesn't mean they're going to be in the SEC championship game.
No, but if he's going to be as high as 6, that means he had a hell of a season. If he has a great season,
but a lot of other stuff, you could still lose games. I mean, we didn't. Kyle Trask had a hell of a season, and we didn't win the SEC.
But you got to the game,
but the other teams kind of.
Let's just say Emory Jones does have that kind of season. That would give Florida a shot, I think, because if your quarterback's that good, and he's thought of that highly, because number 6, let's face it, is very, very high. Then that means that would have meant that he had a great season and came out of nowhere, which probably translates to Florida winning the East and having a great year. I mean, I'll just look at it like that. If your quarterback is that highly touted, that means he scored a lot of points. He helped them score a lot of points.
Right, but he could still have a hell of a year, and you could still lose to Georgia. I mean,
that's very, very true. Yeah, that's true. Theoretically, of course, that is true. Yeah.
but did you? And obviously, Alabama picked up Tennessee transfer linebacker Henry Toa.
Toa is a guy that the Vol fans are upset with because he did play well for them. They say the big thing with him was he couldn't cover the slant very well, but at any rate, he was their leading tackler. And now he ends up at one of their.
He couldn't cover the slant. He plays a linebacker, JC.
Well, that's what the stupid Tennessee fans were saying, QB.
Well, they're dumb because not many linebackers cover the slant.
Well, it's like the guys run away from them is what I guess they were insinuating. But I didn't know what that meant either. But I will tell you that he was their best tackler, best defensive player, and now he's playing for their most hated rival, if you can even consider them a rival anymore. And along with Florida. So, the beat goes on for Tennessee. I still think they're going to be better, though. I do. I think they're going to.
I think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be a handful because they got an offensive guy.
They're going to score.
They will score points.
Right.
I want to get your thoughts, JC, on the issues with Bob Baffert and the Kentucky Derby.
Well, how does this surprise anybody? This is the one guy we've seen every year we watch the Kentucky Derby, which I don't. But those who do, there's always a camera on this guy. It's inevitable. They ought to just call it the Bob Baffert Open. He is the most highly sought after by the TV cameras of anybody that ever does anything when it comes to horse racing. And they've even had him in movies about former Kentucky Derby winners. And my thought is that it does not surprise me. My thought is that I guess that's a cynical view to take. But when you win as many times as this guy seems to have, it just seems odd to me. He always wins. It seems like, does he not always seem to win? Now, maybe it's because he trains multiple horses, and sure, that could be. But they're always in the Kentucky Derby. They're always there. So, I don't know. I think it's a bad look, man. I think it's a bad look.
Do you think they're going to strip the title?
Well, since they've now banned him from Churchill Downs, I think there's a possibility that will happen, yes.
So
you fail a drug test? Ben Johnson lost his gold medal and became the shame of the Olympics. So, they took his medals away.
So what's going to happen with the people that threw away their tickets for the horse that came in second? They just trashed their tickets.
Tough luck. It's like losing that lottery ticket in your garage and you can't find it after you think you hit the Fantasy 5. I just think that's tough luck. That's so bad. It's such a bad look for pari-mutuel wagering, which I think stinks anyway. It's an awful thing. They allow pari-mutuel wagering in the state of Florida, but you can't go bet on the Super Bowl here. It's so asinine. But I think it's a bad look, and I think it confirms what so many people say about things like this, and that's why dog racing has always been looked bad upon. And you don't see much of that anymore. And hopefully they'll get on top of this because horse racing is widely more popular as a pari-mutuel wagering type sport. But, man, if you go and throw your life savings out on a bunch of animals running around a track, you get what you deserve.
Oh, boy. Okay, JC.
That's the quote of the day.
All right. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. From now until May 31st, get our preventative maintenance plan for $169 and save almost 40% off the normal cost. Any maintenance schedule between now and May 31st will be entered to win a Nest thermostat with installation. So in 1993, Bill Walton is inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
Big Red.
There's not a whole lot happened on this day in sports, but the Conference of Champions.
Oh, he must have loved seeing UCLA. That had just had to make his year, even though it's early in the year, because he is a big Bruin, and the Bruins are back. And so I think he's cool though. I really like him. I've always liked Big Red. I really have. I think he's cool.
JC, Dan asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mental Law, that he read sports betting is coming to Florida. Is that true?
There is a absolute chance now that the Seminole Indians, who have basically controlled gambling in this state and continue to, have come to an agreement with our governor, Ron DeSantis, on allowing a form of online wagering in Florida. A preliminary agreement has been made. Yes, that is true. You can Google it. And it's with the Seminole Indian tribe, who will basically have control of this in some form or fashion. But this will happen. The money is too great to ignore. Over half the country now allows it, I believe, to be the case. It's close to 25 states now. It could probably is more than that. And yes, you look at these cash-starving states up north, and it's pretty prevalent up there in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and West Virginia and New York now. And so Michigan, Colorado, Florida is going to be on deck, and online sports wagering is going to be a reality here because they've come to an agreement with the Seminoles. That was the biggest thing. Now, there still has to be some legislative avenues to cross, but the biggest thing was getting the Seminole tribe on board because they have exclusivity on gambling in the state. Why, I can't answer that, but that is the case. So, yeah, he's right. That's going to probably happen, and Ron DeSantis was the one who initiated that possibility.
All right. Don't forget to go to potupwithshane.com. You can register to win a Chomp Harder hat.
Chomp Harder, baby.
On Wednesday. All right, JC. It's right over left, JC. Right over left. There you go. Now you got it. All right, JC. Hit them straight today, my man.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
That's JC joining us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the world-famous Pat Dooley, talking about his golf tournament and other things related to sports. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Harder Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Palmetto Moon, Skechers, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Our next guest, Mr. Pat Dooley, on the Titan MR hotline, will have his own seat at Spurrier's Visors Rooftop Bar. Good morning, Pat. How are you, my man?
I'm hanging in there. Yeah, it's a Bob Dooley Invitational week, so I'm already
no sleep.
None, zero.
None. I wanted to bring you on, Pat. We're going to talk a little Gator sports, but first, let's talk about, as you mentioned, you've been doing this golf tournament for 20-something years.
26.
Has your dad's name on it. You lost your dad, I think, this past year. Just talk a little bit about what this tournament has meant to you, and basically what it's meant to you and how many years you've been doing it.
Yeah, it started. My dad was going through a surgery for prostate surgery, and it was kind of a weird deal. They kind of left him under anesthesia a little too long, and it made him ill, made him nauseous. And I was sitting in the hospital room, and he's in pain, and he's nauseous, and I'm like, I got to do something, but for this guy, he means so much to me. So we said, hey, I've always wanted to have a golf tournament, so let's start one and put it in his name. And it blossomed into this gigantic event. So this will be our 26th. We missed 2. We missed one when I had to have prostate surgery, and then obviously last year with COVID. But we partnered with Stop Children's Cancer and like to help out Howard and them every way we can. And we've raised probably close to $500,000 for them over the years. So it's been it's a lot of work, but it's certainly fulfilling. I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So as you mentioned, it is a lot of work to put on a golf tournament. I'm sure you're exhausted right now and can't wait till it's over with. It sells out pretty quick. You don't have any spots available for golfers, right?
No, you can't. Nobody can play.
Here's what you need to do, Dooley. You got to start having like 2 sessions. You make more money.
I thought about that, but then you've got to get vendors to stay out there for 10 hours. But I'm not saying that will never happen. That may happen one day, but yeah, we've had to turn people away. We hate to do it, and I've had people get mad at me, but we just can't. You can only have so many carts. You know that, Shane. There's only so many carts on a golf course. So
here's what you need to do, Dooley. Raise the price.
I've done that.
Keep doing it.
They'll keep coming.
Yeah. But for our listeners out there, there's still a way for them to be involved and to donate or bid on certain items. You're having a silent auction, I believe.
Right.
Can people come out and they don't have to be a part of the tournament, right? They can come out and bid on items. But you're also, I guess, your big ticket item this year is a dinner at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill with Coach Spurrier and yourself. I think it's a dinner for 8, maybe. I think it is.
Yeah, 8. You get dinner, alcohol. Wine and beer is included, not mixed drinks. Desserts included. It's that's going to be a pricey place if you want to go up, go high level as far as what you're getting. I don't think I'm much of an attraction, but Coach Spurrier certainly. I'll prod him on to tell some stories, but we've already been offered a lot of money for it before we even get to the bidding process. So we get that. We've got a foursome at TPC where Billy Horschel is going to try to come out and play a little bit with you. And we've got a bunch of helmets again. We've got a bunch of gift certificates, Hawks K. That, I don't know if you've been over to St. Augustine, that Embassy Suites they built right there by the pier. That looks, I haven't been in it, but it looks unbelievable. Right across from Salt Life. So we got a 2-night stay in a suite there. We got stuff like that people love, and we've got a lot of memorabilia that people are going to want to bid on. But yeah, we invite anybody who wants to come out there and bid on stuff. We usually crank it up or get done about 2:30, and because our only goal is to raise as much money as we can for Stop Children's Cancer. That is the main thing. So if somebody wants to come in, and bid, and if they've got plastic, a little credit card to work for them, we'll take the highest bidder.
And this is this Saturday at Ironwood, correct?
Saturday, 9:00 at Ironwood. We've got several vendors that have come out on the course. The new Pink Flamingo Diner is going to be out there. We've got, Adams Rib will be doing the dinner, and Miapa is going to be doing the breakfast. We got some other food vendors out there. Leonardo's, our great sponsors for our podcast, and they're going to be out there on the course serving up some pizzas. So, yeah, there'll be plenty of food, plenty to drink, and plenty of prizes. We got too many prizes.
Well, that's always a good thing. And so just so I can let everybody know here, Pat, because we've had some people on Facebook Live ask, is most of your auction items are all silent auction? Is the Spurrier dinner a live auction, or is it silent as well?
No, we're doing it silent. I don't believe in live auctions. I know they work better sometimes and you get more money, but to me, look, you're playing in what is going to be a 5.5 hour round of golf in the summer. No, well, it's not summer, but it's spring. Usually it's summer. And a lot of times people just want to leave. They're done and they want to get out of there. So you lose a little bit of the crowd, but with a silent auction, you know they can still bid on it. So, well, we're going to stick with that, and I think we're going to do pretty well on it. From what I've been told, you know the numbers I'm hearing already from people who are saying, "I'll pay this for it, I'll pay that for it." Yeah, well, we should be all right.
Yeah, that's awesome. We got a text here on the Titan More text line. It's from Will. Will wants to know, Pat, what are you up to these days during your retirement?
Yeah, I'm not good at being retired. That's for sure. I'm actually writing right now my back nine column, which I write for WRUS website, and I write a front nine column for them. I'm writing this Gators Wires thing every week. I'm writing for the alumni magazine. We have the podcast that we do, and radio 5 days a week, and running this golf tournament. And I've taken on some other things that have. I did a story for the Wall Street Journal that was just brutal. I mean, those people edit you to death. Really? And but the pay was good. So anyway, I'm not retired. I'm just retired from the newspaper business.
Yeah, it sounds like you're busier now than you were when you were at the Gainesville Sun.
In a way, I am. And you know what? I had that little pang yesterday when I'm finding out all the details of the story of Julia Cottrell's walk-off homer, and how she broke a tooth and earlier with one of the greatest slides I've ever seen. Yeah. And I'm like, I wish I was there to write about that. Not just there to see it. That's where you kind of get that feeling like, oh, man, I would love to have been able to be there and interview her and write about that. So, but I don't get that often.
And what's great about that story too, Pat, is her dad is the hitting coach out at Oklahoma State for their softball team. And they were playing OU at the same time. And if you flip back and forth between the games, the commentators for the OU game were kept showing her dad in the dugout, wondering if he had just heard the news about his daughter hitting a walk-off for Florida to win the SEC title. So it was. Speaking of that, let's talk some Gator sports. Let's stick with softball for a minute. I mean, Tim Walton, I think it's year 16. I mean, I say, death taxes and the Gators going to Oklahoma City, it's almost a given every year. It gets to the point where, and I know this sounds terrible, but it's like the regular season is somewhat boring. Obviously you want to win SEC titles to put it out on the wall there, get rings and that kind of thing. But just talk about what he's done with this softball program.
It's amazing because, I mean, obviously when softball started, Shane, as you know, it kind of started from nowhere. All of a sudden they just build a stadium and start playing softball, and every game was 1-0. And Florida had a good run there with Chelsea Sakisi, but things weren't going well there. And then they bring in a new coach, and Karen Johns, who's really well respected and still is in the softball community, and is a coach usually on the national team. But it just didn't work out here again. I remember her death knell was that they hosted the SEC tournament and the regionals and lost all 4 games. Oh. And that was not good. So she got fired after that. I was still a friend of mine. I really liked her. And then they bring in this baseball pitcher. And we're like, okay, that whatever, I mean, I don't think anybody even noticed when Tim Walton got hired. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting in Oklahoma City having a great time. So, and it became this great, he knows how to recruit. He knows he's relentless in that way, and that he watches these kids when they're 8th graders, and finds the talent and knows how to develop the talent. And he runs his program. I was talking to Scott Strickland about this. He runs his program practices in a very disciplined manner. And that he actually took kind of the blueprint that Ron Polk at Mississippi State used. And that's the way he's run his programs. And, everybody, all the girls seem to always have a great time. They always seem to enjoy each other. There was that one year where things got a little haywire, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, and they're always fun. The one reason I really love going to softball games, and I was at the Saturday game, but I used to love to cover them, is you're talking to people, to young women who are very smart. They're fun to talk to, and they're very successful, and they like the fact that the media wants to talk to them. There's nobody over there on that basketball team that wants to talk to us, or that football team. They're done with us. They don't want anything to do with us. And even in the COVID world, we maintain that relationship with the softball. So I love covering softball. I wish I was still covering some of it.
Yeah, I know Tim very well. He's very detail oriented. He can tell you what their schedule is for next week. He can tell you what they're going to be doing a month from now. And that's why he's got a successful program. Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes here with Pat Dooley on the Titan MR hotline. We got a Facebook Live question from Dan. He wants to know, will Tim Walton win another title without Jen Rocha? Jen Rocha, if you're not familiar, folks, she was his longtime pitching coach, who she played at OU and then is now the pitching coach at OU. Here's the thing that they will. I think now softball's changed a little bit, especially his staff. He's got like 4 or 5 girls that he can throw at you. It's just not one. But beating Oklahoma is going to be tough because they are a machine right now.
They are. But, Georgia beat them. So yep. Is that their only loss?
No, they lost to Oklahoma State.
That's right.
Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, so they got 2 losses all year.
Yep.
They're really good, and Patty Gasso is a great coach. So, I think that there was probably a little bit of a fall off when Jen Rocha left, and she really didn't want to leave. But when Mama calls you home, you have to go. Yep. And something Carol Ross told me a long time ago. I think they've kind of found their way, and that pitching staff he's put together has been very good. And you had Kelly Barnhill, and it was kind of like she pitched every inning, so it was like old school softball. And now they're back to what they like to do, which is to have 3 or 4 different pitchers you can count on, so you're not always locked into one. So they can, the way they hit, the way they pound the ball, they can win it. You get to Oklahoma City and anything can happen, and that's the key. It's funny, we talk about the NCAA tournament, and the thing with Billy Donovan was always just keep getting there. One day you'll have the right team, and he had the right team in 2000, almost the right team, but he ran into a buzzsaw with Teen Cleves and those guys. And then in 06 and 07, he had these great teams. And they were able to do it. You just got to keep going there. And with softball and baseball, it's get to Omaha and Oklahoma City. Getting through the regionals and getting to the regionals isn't even the goal. It's part of the goal, but you got to get to those places. And when you get to those places, then anything can happen. I've seen Florida baseball teams go to Omaha with great teams and go 2 and through. I've seen great softball teams in Florida not live up to what I thought they would do, and yet they won those 2 back-to-back national championships. So you just got to get there and hope things go your way. Hope the bounces bounce your way, and you're able to make the clutch pitches and get the clutch hits.
We got a text here, Pat, for you from Joseph on the Titan MR text line. He says, Pat, if the Gator baseball team does not make it to Omaha, will this be one of the most disappointing baseball years you've ever seen or covered?
I don't think it's going to be one of the most disappointing as we sit here today, Shane. But, Shane, when we go back to preseason, yes, that would be one of the most disappointing because, it wasn't just the media and Jeff and I on the radio and you and everybody talking about how good this team was going to be. It was Sully. Sully loved this team. He thought he had no holes in his lineup, and he had this 3 great starters. And injuries hurt them certainly in terms of the pitching staff, and obviously losing the catcher who should be back soon to an injury, who was their best catcher. But now if they don't go to Omaha, will I be surprised? Of course not. I mean, they're probably not going to host. Well, they're not going to host a super regional. They're probably going to host a regional, but they are a weird team in that this is so anti-Sully. You don't know what you're getting in pitching game to game. You know you're going to get bad defense every game, which drives me crazy. And yet they strike out way too much, and yet here they are. They really actually have a chance to win the SEC still, which is there's something about them that there's a clutch factor, but there's also the flaws are pretty apparent here.
Yeah. Pat, before we let you go, I want to get your thoughts on Gator football. This will be Dan Mullen's 4th year here. And I don't know if you heard when I mentioned to JC, I saw Pro Football Focus, which I'm sure Jeff have any of those guys from Pro Football Focus on y'all shows before? You know, they break down every player, college and pro. Well, their 2022 mock draft has Emory Jones going first round, 6th pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. Does that surprise you? And do you think how do you think this team is going to look when we watch them in the fall?
Well, it probably surprises Jalen Hurts. You know, I mean, they put all their eggs in that basket, and then they're saying, well, that we're going to give him 1 year and then get rid of him. No, I don't see Emory Jones being that high a pick, although I keep hearing more and more people come out with mock drafts that have him in the first round. Well, we don't know what he can do, and we know what the potential is. This should be more of a running team, but Dan Mullen likes to call pass plays. You know, he likes to throw the ball around. I think he's really good at it. I think he can get guys open about as good as anybody in the country. So it'll be interesting to see if Emory then can take that and make that into something. Can he hit the passes? Can he read the defenses? I mean, he's not going to be Kyle Trask. That's not going to happen. But he can run, and he can run with a little bit of power, which always surprised me last year. So it'll be a totally different team. I think they're underrated. Where, like, for example, Mark Schlabel had him 17 in his way too early thing for ESPN, and I'm like, no, they're better than 17. You know, they're not. I would put them probably about 10 or 11. But could they be really good? Yes. Could they struggle a little bit? Well, it depends on the quarterback play. But another thing to remember, Shane, is when you look at the East, Georgia's crossover games are Arkansas and Auburn. Auburn with a new coach. Florida's got Alabama and LSU. I mean, that to me is a huge factor in how you're predicting how the SEC is going to go.
Yeah, last year, if you looked at the schedule before they shuffled it around, Florida had an advantage over Georgia.
Right.
But this year, you know, with Alabama coming to the swamp, and who knows? I mean, we all know Alabama's going to be a good football team, but they lost a lot of good players, especially off that offense, new quarterback. So we shall see. Pat, before we let you go, how's the golf game?
It's actually it's gotten better, and I finally realized something. Jeff Cardozo took a video of me. I didn't know he was doing it, and I hadn't been turning at all. I'd been because of my two knee surgeries. I'd been just swinging with my arms, and so I started turning. And now all of a sudden, the ball's going a lot further. Unfortunately, the further it goes, the more likely it is to go left out of bounds, or So I'm not scoring better, but I'm hitting the ball way better, and I'm kind of excited about playing golf again. It's actually reinvigorated my game. So I'm not going to hit it Shane Matthews long, but I was literally hitting like 190-yard drives, and now I'm hitting like I hit one the other day like 250. So it's amazing what turning your body and staying balanced, but still getting that belt buckle facing that way can do for your game.
There's no question. All right, Pat. So people can check you out Monday through Friday, most of the days, 4 to 6 with Jeff Cardozo on WRUF, the tailgate, and they can check out all your stuff on WRUF.com. Correct? Yeah,
and also on Gators Wire, which is a Gannett paper, and so you can read that there once a week. I do a book of lists, You've been in there a couple times, so
Dooley, do you think
you need to go check it out?
Off the top of your head, that dinner, it's going to go well over 10 grand, don't you think?
I hope so. I hope it goes for a lot. I mean, we're already getting people saying that what they want to do. And look, first of all, it's going to be you're in a private room. You get to get whatever you want, and you get to sit and drink with me and Steve and listen to stories that he's going to tell. And I know all the good stories with him, so I'll just prompt them right into him. So
well, here's what you need to do. You know, when you get ready to announce the winner, and it's Joe whoever, and he's paying 10 grand for it, I would go up to Coach Spurrier or call him. He'd do it anyway. You say, you know what, we're going to do 2 dinners and put the next person in line for a dinner as well. And that way you double the money.
We'll have to get Freddie to approve that.
Yeah,
but another thing we're doing for the tournament, we're actually going to give away like 2 months advertising on my podcast. So, and that with that, you hope that you can get somebody on there and they get hooked in. They go, hey, I want to stay on there. So, but
speaking of your podcast, let everybody know how because it's pretty new, and you do it on Mondays and Fridays, correct?
Mondays and Fridays. Yeah, we're up. This will be our 42nd episode, which is amazing. Today, Travis McGriff's joining us, and Chris Lee from Vanderbilt. We're going around the SEC, and so we're going to every school. So we got somebody from Vanderbilt today, and we had a fun show Friday with we had Judd and Shane on at the same time, and they were going back and forth. I know you've had them on.
Yeah,
we had a great show the other day with Dallas Baker, who was just really emotional, talking about Florida and all the things it's been a lot of fun to do. But yeah, we do it every Monday and Friday. It's live on YouTube and on Facebook Live, and then you can get it on all the platforms, Spotify and everything. So we're doing pretty well with it. I'm having fun with it, and it's been great. I enjoy it. I haven't had you on the show yet. I got to get you on the show.
I'm cheap and available. Hey, real quick before we let you go, Pat, Dan asked on Facebook Live, is there a time limit on that dinner? Like, is there an expiration date or a certain period of time that you have to do it by?
Not really, because, I mean, they're not even going to open until probably mid-June. So,
yeah,
I can look at it, but I don't think there's a time limit. And I mean, I think what'll happen is, whoever wins it will call and set up what's good for them, and then they have to make sure Coach Spurrier is available. You know me, right. I'm always available. I'm always available to go to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and eat some good food and drink some beers. I can promise you that. So
yeah, no doubt.
There aren't too many nights I'm not available.
Well, Pat, we appreciate you taking the time. Good luck with the tournament. I can't wait to hear how much money y'all raise. Appreciate it, my man.
Thanks, Shane. We'll see you, buddy.
Yep, that's Pat Dooley joins us on the Titan Moore Hotline. I'll take our second time out of the program, come back and wrap up this Monday edition.
Hey, Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Hot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Center State Bank is becoming South State Bank, but we still put business first. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State will still have 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. I want to thank JC and Pat Dooley for joining us. Hoping to have Tim Walton on the show either tomorrow or Wednesday. Make sure you tune in and tell your friends about it. Today's show's a wrap brought to you by Wrap Spot. See you tomorrow.
1st and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go. Touchdown, Gators.